Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. In the series we're doing about Nigeria today and the state of the nation, we shall still be looking at just what is going wrong with us as a people and as a nation. Of course, we do know that every day in the news is one horrible story of kidnappings, there are killings here and there. And of course, with commentators coming to say that there is need to quickly address the situation of the country. Quick fixes for some people, but we know that you get into a hole, it might not just be one leap before you get out of the hole. So is Nigeria in a hole, and what are we doing about it? Nigerians more than any other time wants the country to be secured, for us to live in peace, be our brother's keeper. But what we're getting from the divides of the country is turning out to be worrisome. Your thoughts here, will add into our conversation this morning with my guest, Lawrence Ubewe. He is the convener of Reset Nigeria. Now, that's one title that I like, Reset Nigeria. And when you reset something, it's like you've worked on it, and the way to go about it is what you want to click on. So let's reset Nigeria, and that's about the convener of Reset Nigeria, Lawrence Ubewe. Lawrence, good morning and glad to have you again with us.
Thank you, Tony, for having me.
Yes, concerns here and there, and this concerns, but chief among it would be the question of insecurity. We do know that we're facing economic problems too, Nigerians living below poverty line, and the concerns of the international community about the survival of Nigeria. Now, we've talked about what went wrong, successive leadership, and how much they've done to, getting Nigeria on the straight path. It is not a blame that will come with one was dictatorship for this country, and coming back to civilian administration, what has been put in place to really get Nigeria going. Businesses, international businesses, are not working out. We see conglomerates leaving Nigeria and going back to neighboring countries to settle. So there is a problem about Nigeria, and what is leadership doing about it, and how much has it done? A general overview about the situation in the country.
Thank you, Tony, for having me. You talked about military rule, and I think that as much as we welcome democracy with very open arms, I don't think it has delivered the expectations of Nigerians. I think under military rulership, we fared much better, leading to a downward slide in our national cohesion. Successively, every government has contributed to this. But I want to state here that this is the climax, and it's large. So I don't think it's ever been this low. This is the lowest we have gone. And what is fueling ability? Because the first responsibility of government is protecting lives and security, properties of Nigerians. The government has not done that, and that's lead. So the inability of the government to stem the tide around the insecurity that we have in Nigeria is affecting every other thing. So, and I don't think that it's very fair to begin to lay blames on past administrations. I think we look ahead.
Well, we're talking about evictions. I mean, that Nigerians living in any part of the country can be told to move out. I mean, and then we're sounding the drums of war by, utterances. Utterances mainly, on leaders who should understand, and people talk about the elite class, that these are people that should understand and should be very careful about what they say to the Nigerian state. But again, this is where we're getting them that we can evict as long as you two think that you can evict. Now, one's asking, at what point do we get to where we cannot tolerate ourselves?
Where government vehemently stood against somebody calling Igbos criminals. I am still standing against somebody calling Fulanis criminals. Criminals have no identity. The only identity they have is that they are criminals. So, but we are in a country where the government has not lived up to its responsibility of stemming the tide. Is protection of life and property. We have a lot of marriage of issues going around. You have talked about the quit notice order. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen incidences in the south of police station being overridden, people killed, arms looted, and nobody's stopping. And in a part of the country where over 80% of the 13.5 million out of children come from, and now you are preventing children from going to school. Don't forget that before now, the COVID-19 has already impacted education so much for fear of being abducted. Then even the ones in school, not concentrating and looking over their shoulders, whether they are coming to be kidnapped. So we have degenerated. And that is why now you see, look at the Eastern Security Network, for instance. Over the last 2 weeks, the army has been engaging them, which is a legitimate business. But people are calling to question because it looks as if some criminals get away with their criminality. This protection of life and property. We just saw the statement released by Mr. Garba Shehu, the handler of the president, about the kidnapping, the latest kidnapping in Zafran. You can only say that statement is irresponsible.
And let me just go to the last administration in United States of America. We had Donald Trump and the media. It was not the best of relationship. We come back home to Nigeria. Now, one of the issues, that commentators, public affairs analysts would say about we're not having a president talk to us. Let us feel him. Let us see his face and know about the pains that Nigerians are going through. Would that in any way be, what we expect, that the president must always share with us when he has his Minister of Information, he has a spokesperson, advisors, and all of them? Why are Nigerians holding it on him that they must hear their president on issues?
I think we continue to overflow this, whether the president speaks to us or not. For me, it's been 6 years. So we should forget that he's not speaking to us. I don't think that's the major problem. You have to look at even the posture of the spokespersons of the president. He's been defensive.
Well, would we rather not have it come from the president to say?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
He's been defensive. It's like we against them. This is a president that is the president of all Nigerians. And the spokesperson and the handlers of government information are failing to sympathize with the problems of the citizen. Instead, they want to give you a reason why it has persisted, instead of finding a reason or what government is doing to stop it. That's on one hand. Then when you compare with other presidents, I don't know any leader that is afraid to speak to his people, except President Muhammadu Buhari.
Afraid? Would that be right to use?
Yes, it is afraid. No, even if you look at when I remember the national broadcast he made when people insisted that he had to speak to people, to this nation about the answers. It was like a warning. He was warning the whole Nigeria. Fear to speak to face his people. The same people.
Would that just be right?
That's where it is. Unfortunately, when we come to radio, you don't know what to say because there are a lot of people who don't want to listen to the message, but they want to go for the messenger. Even the media is now being censored on what to say and what to broadcast, because if not, you are fined heavily or you are closed down.
I want to talk about the media because you just held on to the media too. Maybe use of governance and all of that. Is the media playing its role as gatekeeper and of course the fourth estate of the realm?
I think that in Nigeria, the media is in an open prison. Nobody's caging you, but you can't say everything. So, and I don't think that anybody can downplay the role of the media in holding government accountable. But in this case, so I don't think it's fair to begin to blame the media, whether they are doing their core responsibility, because there is no space to practice that media professionalism in Nigeria.
That it must be a responsible media that you're calling for now.
I'm not calling for a responsible media. I don't know the media that is irresponsible. So I'm not
seeing what the media did in Rwanda. We're still not forgetting that.
No, we are in Nigeria. We are in Nigeria. Now, see, let me now open to the social media. And that is where the danger lies. The media in Nigeria are professional, no control. So it's in the best interest of Nigeria to allow the media to function. Because if you look at the censoring today of the media, is doing more damages to the Nigerian state than even you can imagine. Because go around all social media, because you can't keep people quiet, they're concerned, and they will continue to do it, radio, television, or no radio or no television. So I don't want to hold the media. So what I'm saying is that has even the president or the government taken advantage of this, owes it to the people, to the citizens, to give them information, or else the mischief makers will dish out the ones in their closet, and that will be damaging, that detrimental to the nation. And that's why we are here.
Look at the responsibility too of what comes from the top. When I talk about the top now, I'm looking at the federal level and what we see at state level. It's been said that our governors mostly have turned to emperors, and of course they do what they want. Sometimes we don't have anyone controlling them, and so they just report to Abuja, to collect the monthly stipends and all of that. So what is it about the state and the federal that are not just working right?
No. The issue for me in this particular dispensation, I think the states have seen a weak federal government. A very weak, not just weak, a very weak federal government. Look at
by allowing independence of the three arms.
Look at that they are using some scholars, Islamic scholars, to get to the bandit. The Kaduna state government vehemently rejected that as an option. Now, in a real democracy, this should have been discussion that should have been held incredibly with the federal government tactics. And don't forget that the army, police, or the security architecture is in the exclusive list. So if the state is disagreeing on tactics, then you can understand why we are here. So for me, it's not a question of whether you need to restructure. Nigeria is a federation, and in a federation, the state should be almost. People are still doubting the necessity for us to go back to the true federalism that we say we practice, instead of this adulterated one. I don't think that there's any question about it this week. People have often questioned, even people in government, who is the president in the presidency? So it is difficult. We have seen the running problems that we have as a nation. Is the fact that there is no cohesion.
Patriotism.
I think we have lost it. It's not we are losing it. We have lost it. And that's why I say we need to pull back. We're on the brinks. We have seen the effect on unemployment. We have seen the effect on education. We've seen even in COVID-19. Don't forget that we are back prevention strategy. Put them
You're
together.
not making this country a joke.
I think most of Chibok schoolgirls looking for justifications. But in Nigeria, we are saying the reverse. We go and beg the criminals not to be criminals. You ask the question, supply chain of these weapons. So the law has not lived up to its responsibility. I have to be very fair. Sometimes I like to choose my words. Fortunately for us, we have the most irresponsible National Assembly.
Again, the work, to make things move and faster, unlike what happened in the last assembly. What is wrong with that?
No, how do you explain in November? The Senate. I am not speaking of nowhere. I am speaking with facts. You are in the media. Did you not watch it? Did you not report on it? And speak truth to power. We'll do that at the expense of our own security.
There are representatives, even at the National Assembly, who are against some of these things coming from the executive.
You know that you asked me whether we are losing our patriotism. So I am not talking about the politics. So I have not come here to be charitable. That's why sometimes I decline media interviews. Very sharp one. We need to pull back. That we must not fall into those clips.
With Nigeria, what is wrong with governance, and how these thoughts with me. We'll come back after this commercial break.
Now.
Your vibration.
As long as it's good and intelligent music.
It's on Invicta 98.9, and we're talking about the state of the nation. We're bringing into colorations too about what is happening and why we need, from the divides of the country, we know that we must survive, and I'm bringing it to relate to what happened in the EndSARS protest, the EndSARS, why it was very hot, and for the demands of good governance and police brutality in some parts of the country. We didn't see so much concern about what resources. Where are the best in Nigeria, and where are they hiding? Is it that people cannot come forward and demand for the best of Nigeria?
Dwell on the leadership selection process in Nigeria's leadership recruitment. I think it's very opaque. I think it's outdated. Good people out. If you have not stolen money in Nigeria, in the history of Nigeria, you have no chance. How much do you need to purchase a phone, for instance, to be a governor? If you retire as a permanent secretary, a lifetime, as salaries and allowances, you will not get more than 50 million in Nigeria. That's if you spend. This is where you have not spent any money to send your children to school, man, of course. But if you have worked in government, and we know that majority of the people who are holding forth rely on people to fund your election, it means that those who have invested to campaign to become governors have access to motopark touts who will beat, kill, and snatch transmission. You must also get touts who will intimidate people in your good conscience, who have good character, who are valuable. It's meant for touts, motopark touts and agberos. Except somebody handpicks them and puts them there. And it's an unfortunate thing for the system. Now you talked about people who are fanning the embers of disunity in Nigeria, of consequences. Unfortunately, the highest call for people to defend themselves from being killed. Now, defending yourself is the core responsibility of the federal government. When you the same thing in the east, it's only in the north that we've not seen people challenging these bandits. Now you pay ransom, they release this, they go and kidnap the next one. You come and negotiate, you pay ransom, they go for the next one. So it's telling you that it has become an avenue for even government to begin to embezzle. So you can, for instance, you can pay 500 million to bandits. I'm only depending on God to pull us out. I am not seeing anything. So if legitimate agitation that you protect yourself in Nigeria, profiling. Now, there was an attempted arrest by DSS of Sunday Igboho. That this is the man who's protecting us, and now they want to take him and keep us vulnerable. So you cannot completely fault this ethnic agitation, passion on other people. Is he arresting politicians who have a different view from the government? Again, I go back to the Garba Shewu's question, statement. The problem the government, what do you do when there is no one in their enclave? Assigned to the traditional rulers. The state of my birth. Bono, who's now a former senator. Give traditional rulers warning order. Any kidnap victim that. How much has government engaged these people? Government seems to just be interested. There is no community you go to, you see violence without early warning sign. So you understand why we are here. We are not, but I think that this present government is working hard to make sure that Nigeria dies.
How fair can that be here?
Very fair again. I've given you instance. To mount on the government to change the service chiefs.
Stand the test of time. And rather than having institutions, we're having institutions, are not really working. We have any
leadership recruitment process. Rigging election for motopark touts. He will rig for a motopark tout to win.
I don't get the correlation here.
One for the election of Senator Rachel Sokorocha. You remember Rochas wanted him to rig the election. The court said Rochas won the election. It bounced in Nigeria. Who presides over elections in Nigeria? Professors, beneficiaries. Look at the lead, all of them. Majority of them. Who were they? Again, I continue to say list of being criminals. People he investigated while he was in. Another senator from Bauchi State, I'm sure. So there is no need repeating ourselves often. But these are enclaves. But fortunately, they use the elite institution against strong men. Who builds this institution? It's the political leaders. Is there a national consensus that people, we saw how they formerly have that in Nigeria? Recently, I think last week or so, a former aide of a sitting governor has been arrested. He's still in detention. So how do you build institutions? Not just that he was arrested. If a traditional ruler tells the governor the truth, he dethrones him in it. So Nigerians, to sit up and look for how to pull back our nation. Our constitution calls for recall. Our constitution calls for impeachment. To ask a president who he feels is incapable of
on matters of governance in Nigeria. Time to come to you, the audience, be part of this conversation, not to go, to tilt down. And so, on these numbers, you can be part of this conversation, 08189 07087800989.
In the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly, to start with, from institutions, just like you have explained now, cannot work on their own actions. We are referring to the same people that are managing that institution. For instance, the DSS, I begin to ask myself, what actually are we still having DSS and the allowances on a monthly basis?
How fair can that be, too? Again, Francis.
Why I say so is this. These people bring out a report of having information or contact money for these people to purchase arms and all that. But for a Nigerian to stand up today and order for a goose online or whatever, DSS work for the politicians that they entered the offices through them.
Okay.
I have forget. Honestly, this country stands. We are no longer free. Somebody and the person will speak freely the way he or she feels. But now you cannot do that anymore.
Okay, but no longer at ease.
No longer
for me. Well, again, we'll stay with your calls.
Yes, thank you. Lawrence has spoken very well. May God continue to strengthen them, no matter what they do, that he came for the masses. Typical man now, my children can no longer go to a big school. Is that what the president, because their children in outside countries, schooling? My children now, my last daughter, this 1 year now, she cannot go back to school. She just went back to school last 2 weeks. And now, some states are closing. Is that what the president promised us?
Okay,
but we cannot see it.
Okay, we'll take another one last call.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kuri. One last call, and then we come back to our guest.
We find ourselves, unfortunately, just like my friend, when he wanted to start his analysis, we are in an unfortunate situation. Because if they have this country, absolutely the abuse. I want to say that if those people have the money or have the money,
You're having a problem with your lines, engineer. Honestly, having problems with your line. It's not audible enough for us. Yes. Okay, let me just squeeze in this one call. Make up for that.
Yes, on the issue of government sacking people that criticize them, I think it's a tradition all over the world.
Can you speak out again?
I said for the issue of some champion of that. And Jonathan said, the Minister of Finance, for telling us that this government is coming from. In as much as some people are making responsible statements in the government, I think many Nigerians are making a responsible statement. What stops you from going to people that attack those people? But for Sunday to organize the killing of innocent people simply because they share ethnic same thing with the other people is absolutely irresponsible and is not going to take us anywhere.
Lawrence.
I think let me start from Sunday Igboho so that he doesn't misconstrue what I said. Nobody is talking about his action being justified. But what we are saying is that, and I've said it so many times, what the people of southwestern Nigeria see Sunday Igboho to be championing, whether that is right or wrong, and I think I made that clear, whether it's right or wrong, that is what is happening in Southwest. If government is apprehending criminals, begin to bring to the emergence of warlords who will continue to drum the ethnic wars in Nigeria. I think he gets that clearly so that he doesn't misconstrue what we are saying. Only added that as an addendum. The issue is that somebody is speaking within his constitutional rights and DSS is arresting the person instead of going after the government to resign. Nowhere. It is a constitutional matter. It's a constitutional right enshrined even in Nigerian constitution. The National Assembly is supposed to do that. So it is irresponsible of the DSS to leave the matters of national security that is bedeviling the nation and arresting people who are just complaining, people who sing his praises. But they need to sing his praises for them to continue to get the crumbs of the country with the poorest people in the world. To see affluence in your neighbor's house. You live in a squalor. Your neighbor hunger has not allowed you to sleep. Look at the banditry. What are they doing? They are using it to get more money. Only thing they complain about is poverty and negligence. They have given it severally as reasons why they are in crime. I hope people who call to question some of these things will continue to share the resources of Nigerians among themselves, officials who are less than 1% of the population. The poor will continue to get back at them. There's a friend saying that one day, when there is nothing to eat, the only if they are kidnapping governors. I will not give a damn.
Again, that was just a statement.
Yeah, it's a statement.
A statement.
If they are taking people who are still through the same pains, but are not taking crimes as option. Now, the effect of the school kidnapping. Now, from 2014, you have trajectory of kidnapping and abduction of girls. How do you get them to school? I have listened to some of the Chibok girls who are now schooling in US, and they said it categorically that except they came to the US, that they had already been in Nigeria. So the politicians, they better be warned. If we don't pull back from these brings, we'll all go down.
And that would just be the size of it on the program Perspective this morning. Together, Lawrence Obewe, I'd like to thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Lawrence Obewe is the convener of Reset Nigeria, concerned too about situation.